Hello and welcome to Kumba Iron Ore's first sustainability performance presentation. We're coming to you from Johannesburg, South Africa. My name is Penny Himlock. I'm the Investor Relations Principal at Kumba Iron Ore, and it is my privilege on behalf of our directors and executive management team to extend our warmest greetings to all of our guests. Our purpose is reimagining mining to improve people's lives. At the heart of this is an authentic commitment to sustainability and a recognition of its relationship with productivity and commercial success. During the next hour, our CEO, Tembo Makonazi, our Executive Head of Safety, Health and Environment, Philip Fourie, and our Executive Head of Technical and Projects, Glenn McGavigan, will be your guides. This will provide insight into how Kumba has integrated sustainability into its business strategy and how that is reflected in the initiatives we have put in place and the results we are achieving. From health and safety to community upliftment, from governance to environmental improvement, we at Kumba are determined to become a truly sustainable mining company. After the presentation, we'll be hosting our question and answer session with management, so thank you for joining us. Before we begin, however, I'd like to hand you over to Philip Fourie for our safety and health share, which is part of our culture at Kumba.
Thank you, Penny, and good day to all. We start every meeting in Kumba with a she share, and today will be no different. A safety and health share is a shared reflection on our commitment to safety and health at Kumba. I will do the she share and will focus on a safety initiative that we have implemented called My 24/7 Safety Commitment. The 24/7 safety commitment is a pledge taken by all Kumba employees. It is one of the initiatives that Kumba introduced to build a sense of collective and personal responsibility for safety. It has become an important aspect of our drive to eliminate fatal accidents in all our operations. This commitment is recited by everyone at the beginning of every shift. Our employees know it and recite it by heart, and they do so out loud, demonstrate their commitment to themselves and their employees around them. Aside from reminding everyone of what they need to do, how they need to do it, and why they need to do it, this custom creates an energy, a sense of togetherness, and a connection that is incredibly powerful. Allow me to share my 24/7 safety commitment. Today, I choose to be safe by keeping safety top of mind. Today, I understand that my actions affect those around me. Today, I will lead by example and do the right thing the first time. Today, I commit to continually stop, look, assess and manage my work environment. Today, I work safe for my family, myself and my colleagues. This concludes the she share for today.
Thank you, Philip. At Kumba, we recognize that sustainability, including our non-negotiable commitment to safety, makes us better at our business of mining. It makes us more resilient, more future-proof, more adaptable, and more efficient. And that's the reason why sustainability is at the heart of what we do. Our purpose, as Penny mentioned, is to reimagine mining to improve people's lives. This reflects our intention to mine innovatively and safely to create value for our stakeholders. We are guided by our values, and these inform how we harness all our assets and capabilities to become the world's most valued mining company in the eyes of our stakeholders by 2023. And despite extremely challenging conditions, our performance during the first half of this year is a testament to our commitment to sustainability. For the 4th year in a row, we achieved 0 fatalities and no major environmental risks. We also had no new cases of occupational diseases. We produced 18.6 million tons of ore and achieved an 84% return on capital employed. This allowed us to support livelihoods in our host communities with 1.4 billion rand of supplier spend. I would also like to reflect on the fact that in our modern world of decarbonization, Kumba's product quality positions us to take advantage of our clients' sustainability needs. In China, for example, the steel industry continues to play a central role in economic growth. And iron ore is a key input for steel production with no low-cost alternatives available. Add to this China's commitment at the United Nations General Assembly in September to be carbon neutral by 2060. This means that the demand for high-quality iron ore that is less polluting will increase. As you can see, Kumba's lump-to-fine ratio is second to none, and our iron ore quality is one of the highest amongst our peers. Similar to the shift in our traditional markets, China is replacing small blast furnaces with more efficient large blast furnaces. These need to use high-quality iron ore, further stimulating demand. Our unique product qualities gives us a competitive advantage in a world that is focused on reducing environmental pollution. Given this, Kumba can enable the sort of decarbonization that massive users of iron ore like China are targeting. In a world of increasing pressure politically, socially, and environmentally, we need to be equally cognizant of the importance of sustainability in our mining practices. To this end, we have adopted the Sustainable Mining Plan, an Anglo-American group-wide endeavor that is informed by both the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and our business strategy. The Sustainable Mining Plan is built on 3 key pillars. We want to be a trusted corporate leader. We want to ensure our communities are thriving because of our business activities. And we want to maintain a healthy environment, recognizing that biodiversity, energy, and water all lie within our stewardship. The plan prioritizes 12 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and is in line with our own strategic ambitions. These ambitions have 3 time horizons. In the short term, we aim to enhance our margin by ensuring that our assets operate at full potential. In the medium term, we want to extend our life of mine assets to 2040. And over the longer term, we aim to expand our business in the Northern Cape. Key to all of this is that our commitment to sustainability is supported by our board structure and governance framework. We take sustainability seriously. It is built into our governance structures and it shapes our board. And it contributes meaningfully to the executive team's incentive plans. Our governance framework is comprehensive and informed by legislation such as the MPRDA and the Mining Charter, international standards and voluntary compacts such as King IV and the ICMM, as well as Anglo-American group policy and guidelines. In terms of the board, we have 5 board committees providing oversight on material matters. One of these committees is the Social Ethics and Transformation Committee, who hold the executive management team to account on all matters relating to sustainability. Furthermore, our sustainability performance directly impacts the executives' long-term incentives. 30% of their incentive plan is determined by the company's performance against 6 sustainability metrics including safety, social, environmental, and financial factors. Moving on to corporate governance. We have seen environmental, social, and governance issues at large corporations result in significant reputational harm and financial costs. Good governance, however, brings ethical leadership, transparency, and strong risk management into the business. At Kumba, we recognize that good governance is good business. Our corporate governance also supports and promotes inclusivity and diversity. This unlocks potential and ensures that we have more voices, ideas, and approaches to respond to a constantly changing world. We have made pleasing progress in fostering experienced and diverse leadership and management teams. Employee relations are also key to sustainability. In July 2018, we introduced Karulo, a broad-based employee share ownership scheme for permanent employees below middle and senior management levels. The scheme was well received with a 99.4% acceptance rate. We have good relationships with national, provincial, and local government. We achieve this through continual engagement, strong regulatory compliance, and meaningful progress on transformation and developmental objectives. To ensure that our actions reflect what is truly important to us, we measure and manage sustainability through our 7 pillars of value. Each pillar has defined KPIs and targets against which we measure both non-financial and financial performance. The non-financial and financial KPIs are all connected. These include safety, health, environment, people, and communities, and supports our social license to operate. This in turn impacts our financial KPIs and overall performance. We will now be taking a virtual tour where you can see how we work to meet our high sustainability standards. We will then look at how we are tracking against our sustainability metrics and the value we create for our stakeholders. We believe that when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, our commitment to sustainability enabled our rapid and effective response. Having already established our values in terms of sustainability, including our employee and community relationships, we were able to shape our response quickly and with integrity. Our first priority was to protect the safety, health, and livelihoods of our employees, contractors, and communities. Business continuity was also high on our list as we continued to serve our clients, protect our assets, and deliver shareholder returns and contribute towards the fiscus. Through our WeCare COVID-19 program, Kumba provided essential services such as water, healthcare packs, and food parcels to the most vulnerable families in our local communities. We also distributed personal protective equipment and bulk sanitizers to clinics and hospitals in the area and donated face masks to schools. Our COVID-19 preventative measures include screening, testing and quarantine procedures, as well as business contingency plans that have been implemented across our value chain. These measures have ensured that our operating activities have not been impacted since reopening after lockdown.
As Tema mentioned, Kumba has achieved over 4 years of being fatality-free. At the same time, we had a big reduction in the number of injuries. This makes us all very proud. It should not be remarkable when employees and contractors get home to their families safely every day. It should be the norm. And that is what we work towards. Our safety strategy is based on the elimination of fatalities framework, which drives all our safety efforts. We aim to be a fatality-free company and to continue on our journey towards zero harm. The framework consists of 6 pillars. All of these have an impact on the working environment, including behaviors, conditions, equipment, process implementation, and management. Today, I will be highlighting certain aspects of the framework, starting with leadership. We firmly believe that the results we get is a reflection of our leadership. Accidents reflect poor leadership, while no accidents reflect good leadership. As unconditional safety leaders, we never compromise when it comes to safety. Our employees and contractors all understand that safety is a key value and that each employee is responsible for their safety as well as the safety of their colleagues. No work activity will commence or continue if people are at risk of injury and harm and if conditions are unsafe. People know that they are allowed to exercise Section 23 of the Mine Health and Safety Act. That means to refuse to work when they feel unsafe. At Kumba, we believe that continuous improvement requires us to be a learning organization, which is another pillar of the framework. Solving a problem, introducing a product, and re-engineering a process all requires seeing the world in a new light and acting accordingly. In the absence of learning, companies and individuals simply repeat the old practices. For us to continually improve our working environment, it is key that we embrace and drive the fundamentals of a learning organization. We believe it is how we will maintain a truly sustainable work environment. Another pillar of the framework is monitoring and analyzing our leading and lagging indicators. We focus more on the leading indicators to drive proactive and predictive focus areas. Let me share just 3 of our leading indicators with you. The first is high potential hazard reporting. Here we identify hazards that could lead to loss of life and put preventative measures in place. The second is high-risk work verification, which is an independent inspection for compliance with standards and procedures before high-risk work commences. And thirdly, our focused, visible, felt leadership activities, which are heartfelt engagements between leadership and employees. Our analysis drives decisions and actions. We deliberately engineer hazards out of the business. We made many changes to our planned audits, training reviews, and hazard identification, just to mention a few. We then change standards and procedures and implement technology to drive improvement. Speaking of new technology, we see this as a game changer in prevention, reduction, and elimination of fatalities and injuries. I will share a few of these implemented technologies with you. Auto braking is one of them. Historically, the mining industry and Kumba have experienced a vast number of machinery-related fatalities due to collisions. Since installing auto braking technology on heavy machinery, there have been no collisions. How it works is simple. Onboard sensors monitor speed and close proximity to other machines or structures. If safe operating procedures are exceeded, the driver is sent a message to take the appropriate action. If no action is taken, auto braking is activated automatically on the machine, preventing an imminent collision. Another area where technology was implemented is in the prevention of accidents due to fatigue. We've implemented numerous real-time and shift monitoring technologies to identify and manage fatigue, which is a constant concern amongst our shift workers. We established a fatigue baseline for each employee. If an employee is flagged as being fatigued, a real-time monitoring system activates an alarm in the driver's cab and in the central control room. The fatigued operator is then taken off the machine and replaced by a more alert operator. Our Kolomela Fatigue Center, which has been mentioned by others as state-of-the-art and the benchmark in the mining industry, plays a key role in measuring and evaluating the fatigue of employees. The center includes relaxation and resting areas, as well as a gym. Drones are another use of technology for safety. This has limited the exposure of survey teams interacting with vehicles. It's also used to scan a blasting area to see if all people have cleared the blasting zone. And of course, we use drones for security purposes too. In conclusion, we believe that for Kumba to continue improving on safety, we must implement the elimination of fatalities framework and continuously utilize technology to minimize and eliminate poor behaviors that may result in fatalities. Our health and safety strategies goes hand in hand. Thanks to the incredible commitment by all in Kumba, we are well on our way to achieving our occupational health milestones. Our main focus at Kumba is to eliminate occupational health hazards at their source. In supporting employee health and well-being, we recognize the interplay between occupational and personal health risks. That's why we've developed a more integrated approach to health promotion, risk prevention and management, both inside the mine gates and in the wider community. Talking about the community, our vision is to achieve the UN SDG 3 targets for health in our host communities by 2030. Dust management is a big focus area in the health space. We aim to reduce the dust exposure levels by 15% year on year. We have managed to reduce exposure of silica dust to the extent that Kumba has no more people in the AHEC group. A year ago, we had 29 people in this category. We continue with efforts to use engineering controls to eliminate dust overexposures, to enable us to reduce the number of people in the HEC B group as well. With regard to occupational diseases, we are focused on reducing exposures to hazards. This has resulted in no new occupational disease cases this year. HIV and TB are other health focus areas. Kumba is recognized as a leader in workplace health for our TB and HIV/AIDS programs and interventions. Our performance is in line with the World Health Organization and the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. We continue to drive progress towards meeting ambitious targets, such as the UN AIDS 90-90-90. We are improving our case detection, reporting and disease management, but we continue to get new HIV cases every year. We do have actions in place to further strengthen our prevention efforts to bring the incidence rate down. I'm happy to report that at the end of September this year, more than 80% of our people have undertaken HIV/AIDS counseling and testing. We also provide HIV management and counseling to the community through our UGM Wellness Clinic. We reported 14 TB cases year to date. The Kumba TB incidence rate is 85 out of 100,000 against a South African target of 349. This means that we've improved on the national target by more than 400%. It is essential to focus on the health and wellness of our employees and contractors if we want to achieve our goal of zero harm. To date, we've implemented a holistic health and wellness system based on SANS 1601 at all our sites, and will achieve certification by 2021. Wellness hubs have been set up and many initiatives put in place to address the health and well-being of our employees. Adopting an integrated and holistic approach to improving our employees' health is clearly demonstrated in our Employees World of Wellness. We call it WOW program, which was launched in August this year. The plan integrates aspects of mental health, physical wellness, recreation, and inclusion. It also deals with the social stigma of a positive COVID-19 diagnosis. It is a Kumba value to care for and respect our people. All the health interventions and initiatives are driven by this value. We do believe we can produce safely with zero harm to our employees, contractors, and our communities.
Kumba subscribes to the Anglo-American Social Way. This is an integrated social performance management system which defines our social performance standard and governing framework. It sets out clear requirements to engage with affected and interested stakeholders, avoid, prevent, and where appropriate, mitigate and remediate adverse social impacts, as well as maximizing opportunities for development. Compliance with the social way is driven from the highest levels of leadership in the company. In response to COVID-19, we leveraged our social way to develop community response plans, providing effective support for our host communities. This underscores our commitment to the safety and health of our employees, contractors, and wider communities. The social way has also been developed to embed industry international good practice, specifically the International Finance Corporation Performance Standard number 8 on cultural heritage. Integrating social performance considerations in operational decision-making gives social performance a voice, increasing cross-functional collaboration. This guides us on how we go about protecting and respecting cultural heritage, which is essential to our social license to operate and innovate. Our social way requirements include both proactive and reactive approaches to manage unplanned events or change. We are culturally sensitive to the significance of heritage sites, and we have plans to manage sites that we know about, discover, or are made aware of. This applies across the entire life cycle of our business. We know that to create shared value from our resource development, we must proactively manage potential adverse impacts from our activities. Without exception, we must respect and protect the human rights, livelihoods, culture, beliefs, and heritage of our host communities. We work with the custodians of the land on which we operate to ensure cultural heritage duties of care are closely adhered to. We identify assets and resources of value to our communities to truly understand what is appropriate. A responsible approach to cultural heritage is essential to healthy community relations and to building and maintaining trust. It shows respect for culture and traditions, and it offers an opportunity to make a positive difference through the preservation of cultural heritage for generations to come. To ensure that our host communities experience our business positively, we are implementing various programs that also seek to meet the trusted corporate leader and thriving community targets of the Sustainable Mining Plan. Collaborative regional development, enabled by continuous engagement, have helped establish solid relationships with the communities in which we operate. Here are some examples. From a health perspective, the UGM clinic is a great example of how government and private sector can work together to deal with key sustainable development goals relating to health priorities, such as HIV and AIDS and TB. Over the last decade, Kumba has continued to diversify its community health program. Our community initiatives continue to improve access to quality medical and healthcare services, and to alleviate some of the mounting pressure on health service delivery by government. We have made improvements to infrastructure in local municipalities, monitoring health indicators and providing training for healthcare professionals. In addition, we continue to educate on TB control, alcohol and drug abuse, diabetes, hypertension, and sexual and reproductive health. We are also identifying programs that provide a systemic response to substance abuse, TB, and HIV and AIDS. In addition, we are working on an agricultural strategy to provide food security and are actively involved in the fight against gender-based violence. Turning to education, the Anglo-American Education Project is important to us, and we have set ambitious targets for 2023 and beyond. The focus in 2020 was on supporting grade 12 teachers, learners, school governing bodies, and parents in 26 schools in our host communities during the lockdown period. We continued to fund bursaries as part of our strategy to achieve sustainable community growth. Sishen partnered with the University of the Northwest to empower our local TVET college to deliver the Bachelor of Education degree from Katu. This partnership will also see our first professional chefs enter into tourism and other relevant sectors. Let's return to livelihoods. Our stretch goal is to support 5 jobs for every job on site by 2030. Through Anglo Zimele, we are supporting 355 jobs through enterprise, supplier, and youth development interventions. With the onset of COVID-19, we supported SMMEs with a payment holiday on loans from April to June, as well as assistance with accessing government relief and funding. We have also recruited 270 young people into a tourism and hospitality program through partnerships. This year, we spent 2.4 billion rand with more than 300 businesses in our host communities, directly impacting the lives of well over 16,000 people. Our host communities have embraced the opportunities and have even self-organized, forming the Khamagara Corridor Chamber of Commerce and Industry. They represent 21 business forums in our 6 host community municipalities. And we believe this is a first. The importance of building the foundations for our host communities to thrive, even after mine closure, cannot be overstated. We are working with municipalities and have conducted a spatial analysis for the Northern Cape to identify relevant projects with the most suitable partners. Projects in these areas include road, water and electricity infrastructure, as well as capacity development. Consider Dingleton, where we had to resettle the community to the new purpose-built suburb of Siatemba, paving the way for mine development. Since 2014, Kumba has invested more than 300 million rand towards sustainable development in Siatemba. We continue to support the Post-Resettlement Working Group, which aims to foster cohesion and ease integration into the broader community. At Siatemba, we have implemented similar social projects, supporting entrepreneurs and training the youth to start small businesses.
Without the environment, nothing is sustainable. At Kumba, our environmental management is shaped by the Sustainable Mining Plan, objectives and targets, with an emphasis on operating carbon neutral and waterless mines in the future. Today, I will be focusing on 3 areas, namely water management, energy, and climate. However, I would also like to talk about biodiversity and rehabilitation, 2 aspects of environmental management that, while reactive, are crucial to our collective well-being. Kumba revised its water strategy during 2020, and the new strategy is now an enabler to our business strategy. The strategy is balanced between internal and external focus areas and spans over 5 years until 2025. There are 4 core elements to the strategy, but I will focus on water performance today. As mentioned, we want to operate waterless mines in the future. Water efficiency projects have been identified and are currently being implemented. This will reduce our water usage by more than 14% by 2025. We continue to work with various stakeholders to identify more opportunities to reduce water usage. Dust suppression is a big driver of water use. To keep our fresh water consumption as low as possible, we use an additive to bind dust particles, which reduce water usage. We also implemented a project to thicken our tailings, which allows for better recovery of water. We are, in addition, harvesting stormwater for use on the mines and for recycling processes, reducing our pressure on formal potable sources. The circular economy underlies most of the energy initiatives we implement. A few examples are waste management protocols and used tire management and rehabilitation processes. Glenn will be talking about these in more detail. However, I can tell you that energy cost savings from our efficiency program amounted to approximately 548 million rand since 2009, and the company's tax allowance claim in terms of this exceeded 46 million rand. In terms of carbon taxes and the fuel levy, our fossil fuel usage, mainly diesel, accounts for 82% of total energy consumption. Electricity consumption accounts for 18%. At the end of 2019, we paid 11.5 million rand in carbon tax. Significant emission reduction and fuel efficiency has been achieved across our fleet through various initiatives. This translates to the bottom line savings. One of the biggest challenges facing our business is climate change. Our risk management approach to climate change enables us to identify and manage risks and opportunities, helping to ensure the resilience and adaptability of our portfolio. A formalized climate change risk review is conducted annually. We are committed to the transparent disclosure of climate-related risks and opportunities for our business and are aligning with the recommendations of the Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures. Our targets are to have a 30% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions and a 30% improvement in energy intensity against our 2016 baseline. Several projects are currently in different phases of implementation that will take us to our 2030 targets. In working towards these targets, we are developing solar renewable energy generation on the mines and are investigating hydrogen as a renewable energy source for mining activities in the future. Biodiversity is managed closely at Kumba. Our land management practices are designed to protect and enhance the biodiversity value of non-mining land. Both our Sishen and Kolomela mines have set a 5-year period to implement, identify land management options and roll out their infrastructure development programs. Going back to 2018, Sishen established a nature reserve to the west of the mine, which has been formally declared a protected area in the Northern Cape. At the same time, Sishen partnered with VESA to open the Sishen Environmental Education Center at the Old Tamaga Guest Lodge. Since its inception, the center has reached over 8,000 people and provided permanent employment for 4 employees from the local communities, with 2 more coming on board. We also have a number of environmental students on board. In addition, Anglo American Coal has partnered with us, giving Sishen and Kolomela access to high-value game such as buffalo and sable antelope. This will significantly enhance our land management financial and biodiversity value. The first assignment of 30 sables arrived at Sishen and Kolomela in August 2019. Let me end the environmental section by reassuring you that looking ahead, we will continue to identify and manage our material risks. We have put in place controls to address these challenges and are continuously monitoring their efficiencies.
I'm going to take you a little further afield and transport you into the future. Then I'll bring you back into the present and show you how we are already embedding future smart initiatives at our mines. To deliver on our purpose to reimagine mining to improve people's lives, we need to change the way we mine. We need to develop the future of sustainable mining today, and that is what Future Smart Mining is all about. In essence, Future Smart Mining focuses on 3 key areas: technology, digitization, and sustainability. Technology to create an intelligent mine, digitization to create a concentrated mine that has less waste and uses less water and energy, and sustainability where technology and digitization deliver on our sustainable mining plan. This innovative approach drives safer, more efficient, and precise mining with a smaller footprint. I'll be focusing on technology we have in place to further improve safety and productivity. This is in addition to those technologies we already use to eliminate fatalities and injuries, which Philip has already told you about. Some of our future smart technology drives have been accelerated by circumstance. That is an example of how having sustainability at the heart of our purpose positions us to respond to unexpected shifts in our world. COVID-19 made us think differently and accelerate some of our technology drives. An example of this is the Connected Worker program. We were already trialing our smart digital watches when COVID-19 hit. This prompted us to fast-track the rollout of 10,000 smartwatches, which could then be used to facilitate social distancing and contact tracing, and other health and safety needs. Ultimately, the smartwatches will be used for multiple purposes. However, in this particular case, the Connected Worker provided a genuine advantage in terms of our ability to respond to the pandemic. Another exciting innovation that is well underway is our ultra-high dense medium separation, or UHDMS project at Sishen. This allows us to support circular economy principles by converting waste material into product, reducing both our waste stockpiles and overall mining footprint. This also allows us to earn additional revenue without incurring further costs while extending the life of our mines. Any technology we implement must improve safety and productivity. An excellent example of this is the automation of our blast hole drilling fleet at Kolomela. In 2016, we converted all 6 of our drills to autonomous. This allowed us to place all operators in air-conditioned control rooms far from harm's way. Our drill performance improved by 30%, as we can now work through shift change and don't have any operator-related delays. We also saw a dramatic improvement in our drill quality, which resulted in better fragmentation and shovel performance. This is a great example of technology adding value to our people and our processes. Based on this successful implementation at Kolomela, we will be converting 10 of the Sishen drill rigs to autonomous by the end of 2022. On the digital front, mining companies are turning to big data analytics and the Internet of Things to support their business objectives and deliver sustainable benefits. This is a necessary response to the 4th Industrial Revolution, and Kumba is at the forefront. We have developed a fit-for-purpose technology roadmap that aligns with these global digital themes and meets best practice. For example, the Real-Time Condition-Based Monitoring project aims to monitor the performance and health of all of our equipment in real time. This means we can develop algorithms and machine learning that will predict when maintenance is required and detect failure before it happens. We have already picked up signs of early failure on several gearboxes, which we were able to replace on planned maintenance before they actually failed. As you can see, the foundations for sustainable mining have already been laid, but we want to embed future smart mining as early as possible in the value chain. We have an exciting new discovery called Herenkrans in the Northern Cape, and although it is only an exploration project at this stage, we have seen some incredible results when we apply sustainable mining principles from the outset. We have entered a long-term partnership with Rosont, our exploration drilling contractor, to implement technology that improves the safety of operators by reducing the manual handling of equipment. Without the need to physically handle heavy equipment, we are proud to have the first all-female drilling crew operating in the Northern Cape. Our partnership with Rosont sets a new standard in contributing towards the development of localized SMMEs. In line with our ambition to strive towards carbon neutrality, we have installed a 120 kilowatt solar array, allowing us to take Herenkrans project totally off the grid from an electricity perspective. We are proud to have a site that is socially responsible, economically empowering, and green to the core. It is a powerful demonstration of how we are transforming the industry to reimagine mining to improve people's lives.
I hope you enjoyed the virtual tour of our mines and have a clear picture of all our sustainability initiatives and projects. As mentioned earlier, we measure the performance of these initiatives against Kumba's 7 pillars of value. Let's take a look at our track record. On safety, we have been fatality-free for more than 4 years, and we have seen total recordable incidents and lost time injuries down by more than 50%. On health, this year, our ongoing work to reduce exposure to hazards has resulted in no new occupational disease cases. On the environmental front, we have incurred no major incidents for over 4 years and continue to focus on reducing our water usage and increasing recycling. In 2019, we achieved full compliance with the social way, demonstrating excellence in stakeholder management and resettlement requirements. In terms of our people, our metrics are moving in the right direction. But what does all this mean for Kumba and our stakeholders? As you can see, improving our non-financial and financial KPIs translates into value across the board. Being sustainable on the non-financial front means that we are more resilient financially. Since implementing our cost-saving program, we have saved 2.6 billion rand and kept costs broadly flat over time, despite production being limited by logistical capacity. We have also grown our return on capital employed from 51% in 2016 to 84% in the first half of 2020. For the first half of this year, we generated free cash flow of over 7 billion rand. This allowed us to declare an interim dividend at a time when many other companies have had to suspend dividend payments. Mining is an industry that remains fundamental to South Africa's economy and society. Our success means that we are in a position to create value for all of our stakeholders. Against the challenging backdrop of COVID-19, Kumba has created over 13 billion rand in shared value. This follows on the 39 billion of value created in 2019. As you can see, we are delivering to all our stakeholders, from government and shareholders to our staff and the communities who host us. Let us hear what they have to say.
As an anchor tenant on our world-renowned Session-Saldanha railway line, Kumba is our largest customer on that line, and we move about 40 million tons of their iron ore for export market to the Saldanha port. It's been a challenging time to work with Kumba as a partner in the current economic environment, as we can understand. But having had the experience of working with Kumba in two different roles, my previous one with GE Transportation as well as with the current one with Transnet, they're always well respected as a professional operator, and we learn a lot from one another. All the time they do push us to achieve more and achieve better results. When the lockdown was announced on the 26th of March, we took the decision to shut down the iron ore line as well as our other major export lines on the basis of our interpretation of the regulations. The regulations were changed and adjusted very quickly, so we were given the opportunity to restart the iron ore line as well as the coal line, and that allowed Kumba and other operators on the channel to reopen their operations as well. We were constrained very soon based on COVID infections, legal constraints, as well as other operational issues that were quite prevalent as a result of the very restrictive regulations. The engagement with Kumba was one which was very direct and very open. We had a direct line open to multiple people within the Kumba organization, and to Tembo's credit, directly to him on a regular basis. We were facing the same challenges coming from different sides of the fence, but ultimately they were challenges faced by all businesses in South Africa trying to survive this crisis. So pulling together in a very open, very frank fashion was a remarkable achievement at the beginning of COVID, but sustaining that and building it beyond the initial crisis was really, for us, a lasting benefit of that. And hopefully we can build on that in the few years to come.
We are a mining town, of which Kumba is the main mine around our area. And then we have a variety of relationships that stems from people who are looking for job, who are looking for job at Kumba and are working with us here. We also have services that Kumba requires from us as a municipality that we provide to them. And then the other thing is that we are the host municipality for Kumba.
Well, over the last 11 years being involved with water management, I must say pretty good. My experience of Kumba is that they are serious with their compliance and environmental processes. As in any other structure, there's always room for improvement. And it is my experience that Kumba has the willingness to engage with their stakeholders to improve these processes. I see this as a very important step going into the future. Kumba has a strong focus on sustainability, and I think that's a strong view of theirs as well. From my side, thank you for being a partner to the daily lives of people in the Northern Cape. Thank you.
Kumba has always been there to assist schools in around the Tsansabane area, and I think that's part of their beneficiary areas. The difference that Kumba made to our schools, especially in the Tsansabane area, I can mention a few. Kumba assisted us with the building of ECD classes at Asmandia, at Postdin Primary School, which they need to finish off, and a number of other areas. And second of all, Kumba also assisted us in building or helping with the structure of the technical classes at Postdin High School. So Kumba have done a great job for schools in and around Tsansabane area. They have also given schools a number of computers for the ICT rooms and also to develop ICT in our schools.
The connection to Kumba is basically on the basis that Kumba or Anglo is doing business in our area, which is the Tsansabane municipal area. It is doing business in the Hamahara municipality area. So we are community host businesses. And that basically is the relationship that we are having with Kumba. I think the one major aspect of Kumba is that they had taken a decision to open the mining space very early. And as such, they understood their responsibility to be towards the community. They availed a lot of resources, not only for their employees, but they went into the community. They had a number of projects. There were a number of facilities, like for example, your Postmasburg Hospital was one of the first hospitals in the Northern Cape province that was actually a COVID-19 ready hospital. They had put up resources all over the place. They had given people sanitizers and masks. And many of our smaller companies, like for example, they had a brilliant program where they had identified women-owned companies throughout the Hamahara mining corridor. They had given them contracts, and we think, in our view, that was quite a novel exercise, where companies that would never have in the past dealt with Kumba at a level at which other companies are. They were given an opportunity. So I think that was quite an empowering exercise on the part of Kumba, an exercise that we have not seen elsewhere. The message that we would like to leave Kumba with, and in fact all of us, and in fact the entire mining industry, is that if you are genuine, if you really are not about ticking the box, if you want to have a real engagement strategy with communities and host community businesses, you must actually follow the Kumba line, because I've never seen a CEO of a big corporation like Kumba taking an active interest in the resolution of problems of businesses and community hosts. Kumba is quite a leader in that regard, and I think the message is that we need to continue, we need to deepen the relationship, because it is not about ticking the box, it is not about Kumba making profits, it is about living a sustainable community after mining has taken place, because we all know that mining is quite finite. It will not happen forever. But what you do today will most definitely add to the kind of sustainable communities that we would want after mining has taken place.
Our commitment to sustainability is widely acknowledged. We are a constituent of the FTSE4Good Index, where we achieved a score of 4.8 out of 5. Kumba is also rated by MSCI and ISS UCOM, amongst others. Inclusion and diversity are part of our values and our culture, and we are a constituent of the Bloomberg Gender Equality Index, where we scored over 79%. In addition, it's no surprise that for 5 years in a row, we were rated in the top 3 companies by Ernst & Young for excellence in our integrated reporting. We have also been recognized as one of the top 3 companies listed on the JSE by the Sunday Times Top 100 Companies, in recognition of our shareholder returns over the last 5 years. These ratings demonstrate that our commitment to improving our sustainability, our dedication to reporting accurately, and our belief in the value of meaningful sustainability to all stakeholders have put us on the right track and will keep us there well into the future. Every day, we have to earn the right to call ourselves a trusted corporate leader by ensuring that our people and communities are thriving and that our environment is healthy. Our commitment to this is reflected in our purpose to reimagine mining to improve people's lives. Our belief in its value is captured by our ambition to be the world's most valued mining company by 2023, as seen by all of our stakeholders. To do this, we must continue to transform.
Our industry has to address the critical challenges to safety, productivity, and the way we use land, energy, and water. It's more than just the work we do and the footprint that we leave. We are part of people's lives, and we must strive, and we do strive, to make a positive contribution to the socio-economic development. Mining has long lead times, and being sustainable is key to delivering on our purpose, strategy, and performance, now and into the future. The COVID-19 crisis has proven that companies with strong sustainability track records are more resilient and will outperform those that have not embraced sustainability as a core value.
We also know that financial performance is critical if we are to deliver long-term value for all of our stakeholders. But we want to achieve this in the right way, a way that not only reflects our values and our culture, but also reveals the organization we aspire to be. We all have a role to play in ensuring that we protect our environment and our society for future generations. Collaboration is key, and that is why our people, including our contractors, host communities, customers, and partners, are our greatest asset. As the saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Many of the risks and opportunities we face are well understood, but the 1 in 100-year risk events are becoming more common. We believe that our commitment to sustainability makes us more resilient, more adaptable, more efficient, and enables us to continue creating value for our stakeholders even in times of deep upheaval. What we have shared today contributes not just to our license to operate, but to what we call our license to innovate. This means we are continually improving our business model using new technology and strategies that create a safer, a greener, sustainable, profitable business with more control over its destiny. Our business is mining, but our core business is sustainable, future smart mining. And despite the uncertainties of tomorrow, we are excited about pioneering the future.
Thank you, Themba. It's clear that sustainability is the heart of our business. We may not have all the answers, and we'll be the first to acknowledge that there's a lot more we can learn and do in our sustainability journey. For this reason, the management team and I look forward to a robust engagement on the issues that matter to you. Please, can we open for questions? Thank you, operator. Over to you.
The first question comes from Shilan Modi from UBS. Please go ahead, Shilan. Shilan, you may proceed with your question. If your phone is muted, please unmute your phone so that we can hear you. Unfortunately, we cannot hear anything from Shilan's line. The next question comes from Ian Rousseau from Barclays. Please go ahead, Ian.
Thank you. Congratulations, guys. It's a very impressive message. I've got two questions just in terms of some of your longer term targets you've given, and I guess it's in line with what those are of Anglo's, your greenhouse gas emission reductions and also energy intensity improvements. Could you give us an idea of the likely cost that would be for the business to get to those targets by 2030? And then maybe just a second question. I see you didn't mention your a target of net zero, which is something Anglos have done. Is that target applicable to you as well? I was just curious that you didn't mention it in your presentation.
Thanks, Ian. Clearly, from a costing perspective, we are still doing the numbers. Our view, though, is that when we think about the journey towards carbon neutrality, it is going to be very much in line with how we manage the business from a financial and a cost perspective. And therefore, whatever investments that need to be put in terms of that will be very much in line with what we are doing. So we don't really expect any major cost impacts. What we see, though, is the savings that we will make will offset whatever costs, investments that we have to put in. In terms of the second question, we're very much in line with the statement that Anglo American has provided. I don't know, Glenn, whether you have anything else to add to that.
No, so thanks, Themba. Yeah, so Ian, just in terms of our approach to carbon reductions, it's very much around P101, driving our business to be more efficient, looking at digitization and future smart. And the idea there is to do more with less equipment. So if you think about some examples of this, is how we improve truck payloads on the mines, how we increase speeds, but effectively means we can move more dirt with less equipment, so end up parking up some of our gear. And then obviously in the Northern Cape being being quite good for solar intensity. We're looking at how we can put in PV plants to become self-sufficient in that area. But as Themba mentioned, it's a journey we're working on. We're busy with those projects at the moment.
Okay. Maybe just if I put it in another way, do you expect all the projects you proceed or embark on to be NPV positive to get to those reduction targets?
Yeah, and so far what we've seen is they do have a positive return in a business case for us. So as we progress, that is a metric we definitely look at and try and, as Themba said, makes business sense and try and make those projects NPV positive. So it is an ambition, a target of ours to make them sustainable, and businesses on their own is ideally what we'd want.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all for me. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question comes from Seema Sushak from Schroders. Please go ahead, Seema.
Hi, I actually had a similar question about carbon targets, so that's been covered. I had another question, well, two actually. Can you let me know whether you've identified areas of severe water stress? I know you talk about water management, but what about water stress in your operations? And also, you mentioned that you were looking at hydrogen. Can you just talk a little bit more about what you're doing with hydrogen? Is it along the same lines as what Anglo's doing, or are there ways that hydrogen technologies can specifically help combat?
Yeah, sure. So from a water perspective, yes, we have a water strategy, and Philip will talk more around that. We are currently a net exporter of water, and clearly we were probably about the 5th largest mine in the world in terms of dewatering. But clearly our ambition is to reduce the usage of water. We have an ambition of about 75% by 2025. Maybe, Philip, you can touch more on the water. And then on the hydrogen as well, that poses significant opportunities for us, given the fact that, firstly, we are in the Northern Cape. It's got the second highest sun density in the world, close to the Nevada desert. I think it's about 265 kilowatt hours per square mile. So therefore, with sun, with the water, we are very well positioned from a hydrogen perspective, and clearly the opportunity that brings as well in terms of our ambitions on decarbonization. But again, I'll let Glenn touch more on that. Philip, over to you on the water.
Thank you, Themba. We just signed off our new water strategy in March this year. And the strategy includes water savings and what are we doing with the water for the next 5 years. It must be noted that we do need to dewater our pits to mine, and we got a lot of extra water. The extra water is supplied to the local municipalities, Sedibeng, and the water that we cannot use, we pump back into the aquifers. So we're refilling the aquifers outside of the in-pump area, or of the pumping area. So that's the big thing about the water. We supply to the municipality, and then we pump back into the aquifers. We also got a lot of water saving strategies in place. The one is, for example, under dust management. Dust management takes a lot of water. We've included additives to the water to bind the dust better, and that uses less water. We've also included stormwater management principles, where we catch stormwater so that we can use that water for example, dust suppression, as well as other things. We also do water treatment to reuse sewage water. That's part of our management strategy. So I think that's just to highlight a few of our water strategy issues that we implemented since March this year for the next 5 years. Thanks, Kumba.
Then just on the hydrogen, obviously it's we're a diesel-intensive operation. We've got 140 haul trucks in operation at any one time. And our diesel usage makes up about 85% of our energy consumption. We consume about 220 million liters of diesel per annum. So obviously, the option to convert our trucks to hydrogen is high on our agenda, and we're working very closely with Anglo Platinum and looking forward to the development of the first hydrogen truck, which should be turning wheels, in H1 2021. And obviously, like Themba said, if you've got solar and you've got water, you can really have green hydrogen generated through clean energy to power our trucks. So it's definitely a big focus of ours in our overall ambition to get to carbon neutral.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you. Just a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please make use of the numbers that were sent to you via the Diamond Pass to get an opportunity to ask a question. For all the participants that have dialed in, please press star, then 1. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1. The next question comes from Johan Pretorius from Renaissance Capital. Please go ahead, Johan.
Good afternoon, everyone. BHP had quite an interesting presentation this morning on decarbonizing steel. And one of the key points that came out is that going forward, in order to help decarbonizing the steel chain, it will be quite essential for steel producers to focus on higher quality products such as Kumba. So I was just wondering, have you given this any consideration, and what increasing premium does this potentially mean for your product going forward as the steel chain decarbonizes? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Johan. We've always said that we are particularly well positioned in terms of where we play in the market regarding our second to none products. And clearly, the nature of our products being high in iron ore content, around about 64.4 on average. And of course, having a greater proportion of a lump, which clearly makes up close to 2/3 of our products. And we've always said that when we look at the strides around cleaner air, particularly around China's policy around that, we are well positioned because our steel customers therefore prioritize the use of these higher grade iron ores. And our view is that the demand for that will continue. So therefore, on that basis, with time, clearly, there will be an opportunity for higher premium. At this stage, I can't really say as to what we think that is going to be, but we do expect that we will get a higher premium. I think as well, as part of our efforts, particularly when you start to think about the Scope 3 opportunities from a decarbonization perspective, it's obviously important for us to continue to engage with our customers, particularly from a value in use perspective, because the bulk of those emissions are based on their downstream processing. And again, through our marketing teams, particularly on the technical side, we continue to engage with our customers on that journey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johan. The next question comes from Brian Morgan from RMB Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead, Brian.
Hi, guys. Thanks very much for the call. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Brian.
Cool. So just can we just touch on provisioning? We've had this NEMA Act, this draft NEMA Act that they've been trying to promulgate now for forever. And just the first question is, have you aligned your provisions with the draft regulations yet, or are you still working off the old act? That's number one. And the second one is in terms of the way you provision, as you extend life of mine, as you bring in the UHDMS and whatever else that you'll pack on later on, will that result in a reduction in environmental provisions?
Yeah, so as you know, the whole issue around the NEMA Act is one that is requiring a lot of engagement with the authorities. There are concerns that we have as an industry, and clearly those engagements are largely through the Minerals Council. So in many ways, we are still working under the current regulations, but obviously being mindful around the new acts potentially and the ongoing discussions. Specific to the provisioning itself, maybe I'll allow for Bothwell, who's also on the line, just to provide some color on that. Bothwell?
Yeah, thanks, Temba. Hi, Brian. Temba is quite right. We're still working from a provisioning perspective, also still on the existing legislation, because that's what the law would dictate that we do. As Temba said, we do continue to engage around the new regulations. We understand what the proposals are. We understand what the impact is and what the financial impact is going to be. But I think clearly we also, the ongoing work around concurrent rehabilitation as we go along, we always have targets around that just to minimize the sort of end of life liability that we will have. Your question around new projects and what they do to the provision. Clearly any new build or new pit we will require a rehabilitation expense at some stage. So we work those in as we go along. But as I said, our work on the concurrent rehabilitation and making sure we manage that end of life provision continues.
Okay, cool. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Just a reminder, please make use of the numbers sent to you via the Diamond Pass to get an opportunity to ask questions. For the participants that have dialed in, if you would like to ask a question, please press star then 1. If you would like to ask a question, please press star then 1. And please remember to mute the webcast. Thank you. The next question comes from Shilan Modi from UBS. Please go ahead, Shilan.
Hey guys, I'm back. Thanks for the presentation today. I think it was quite enlightening. A couple of questions from my side. I know one or two of them were already touched on. But when you expand your life of mine, so with Sishen, obviously, I think it's mainly with UHDMS, and with Columella, it's potentially with expanding the footprint. Does that not mean you're going to require more energy in the form of electricity and diesel? So, how do we reconcile that in our mind with your reducing carbon emissions strategy? I know you mentioned solar and hydrogen, but maybe if you can give us like a roadmap to follow.
Yeah.
And I'll follow up with more questions.
Yeah, if you recall, when we think about life extension, we think about it in 3 paradigms. The one being, as we improve our productivities and efficiencies through our P101 program, what that effectively means is it allows us to play around with the pit geometries, stiffen the slope angles, which effectively means we mine less waste and we're able to put more ore into the reserve, out of the resource. So again, that's less energy intensive. Similarly, the second element is effectively the use of technology. And this is where UHDMS comes in. And again, I'll allow for Glenn to elaborate on that. And then the third element is obviously our exploration program. And of course, we've been at this in the last 8 years, probably spending about 700 million rands in terms of exploration activities. And as you saw on the video, Hunenkranz is a prime example of the output of those programs as well. And again, when we think about developing those mines, we think about it from a future smart mining context. But Glenn, do you want to perhaps elaborate more?
Yeah, well, Shilan, thanks for the question. I think if you look at our journey where we've come from, 2014, we've improved our efficiencies by about 30 to 40%. and we've actually parked up 40% of the gear we used to run the mine with. So as we become more efficient, we park up equipment, but we're always going to need equipment in the mine. So I think for us the biggest challenge is how do we displace diesel? Like I mentioned, 85% of our energy requirements are coming from diesel. So that's the key focus for us in terms of how we can take the solar projects and the water and convert to hydrogen. But to Themba's point, everything we're doing now in the future and thinking about how we develop the next mine, it's not with how we did it in the past. It's about how we embed future smart, like Themba mentioned, and going forward. So the ambition is really the next mine we open, will be fundamentally different to how we've done it previously, both from a mining and a technology perspective, but also from a sustainability and a green perspective. And included in that is tailings. One of the big footprints that we all leave behind in mining is tailings. So the next mine we open, we're going to look at, what's the option for dry hydraulic stacking or using dry tailings as an example. So it really is a process, but the best way to embed sustainability is at the design phase, and that's a perfect opportunity we've got now in the Northern Cape.
Okay, so can we kind of expect you to deploy these new strategies at Kierdenkrans and then work backwards? So Kierdenkrans, then Columella, and then Sishen potentially.
Yeah, so as we're going on the mines, we'll retrofit where possible. Like for example, hydrogen. I mean, it will be retrofitted, when the technology is available. Solar will be retrofitted into Sishen and Columella, when we finish the project. So it's retrofitting, and then also designing the future mines to be future smart and sustainable.
Okay, great. And then with regards to hydrogen and hydrogen vehicles, I know there was another question on this earlier, but so Mogalakwena has, as far as I understand it, Mogalakwena's equipment is actually quite similar to Sishen, like in terms of size and capacity. So I can see if they deploy that technology there, you can kind of copy it. But Columella is a different mine; it uses different size equipment. What's the process you have to go through to then re-engineer it for Columella, or is it quite a simple thing to switch over?
Yeah, thanks. No, it's very much a very similar process. I mean, at the end of the day, you're replacing an engine, a diesel engine, with fuel cells and batteries. So it really is about how we repower the trucks. And an important thing about our trucks, how they run, is they actually run on electric motors. The engine in the truck is actually just to generate electricity to run the motors. So any way you can put in fuel cells and batteries just negates the need for a diesel engine. So it really is just repowering our existing equipment to run off hydrogen.
And one last question on hydrogen. Would you use stationary fuel cells as a backup power for, in addition to your solar for future power generation, or is that obviously not on the card?
Look, I think if you think about solar, one of the key challenges everyone faces is storage. So there's different storage measures out there, but obviously, hydrogen fuel cells and batteries are definitely an option to look at as the technology develops. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you. There are no further questions at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, just one final call. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1. Or to make use of the numbers that were sent to you via the Diamond Pass to get an opportunity to ask questions. We will pause one final time to see if there are any further questions. Thank you. Just one final reminder, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1, or make use of the numbers that were sent to you via the Diamond Pass for an opportunity to ask questions. We will pause one final time to see if there are any further questions. We have a follow-up question from Ian Rousseau from Barclays. Please go ahead, Ian.
Thanks. Hi. Just to follow up on the hydrogen trucks. I know Anglo have said that they're looking at sort of implementing around 80 trucks by 2030. I mean, obviously that is across the Anglo group. Could you, I mean, obviously, and Glenn, you mentioned 440 trucks at Kumba. Can you give us an idea of the timelines for implementation if the tests are successful? What the implementation is would be at Kumba?
Yeah. I think, Ian, it's similar timelines to what Anglo is looking at by 2030. Obviously, as we extend the life of our mines, we're going to go through fleet replacements as well. So we'll time that with retrofitting the hydrogen trucks with also then replacing gear. So it's on a similar timeline, towards 2030.
Okay, but how many trucks do you think would be implemented at Kumba by 2030?
Well, at least 100. So 100 to 140. We'd look at putting our whole fleet on hydrogen
by then. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no further questions in the queue. Ladies and gentlemen, just one final call. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1. We will pause to see if there are any further questions.
And a privilege to engage with you, to take the opportunity to showcase what we are doing in terms of sustainability and why sustainability is core to our business, particularly from a purpose and a living purpose perspective, particularly when you consider the fact that in many ways COVID really brought the living of our purpose to heart. And of course, showcasing as well the significance and the importance of how we think about future smart mining, coupled with our sustainable mining plan, because ultimately at the end of the day, leveraging of technology, we do want to be the trusted corporate leader. We do want thriving communities, and we do want to ensure that we continue looking after the environment. So thank you very much, and I look forward to engaging with you in follow-up calls. Thank you, goodbye, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon or morning where you may be, or evening, dependent on where you are in the world. Thank you very much.